Welcome back. This is Wargamer Sean. I'm here with part 3 of the Codex Eldar Craftworlds. We're here to go over the troops section today. So we're going to go through the troops. Let's get right to it. So the first one is the Guardian Defenders. And they're 90 points. Haven't really changed cost-wise. You start with 10 of them. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 4. Strength times is 3, 1 wound, initiative 5, attacks 1, leadership 8, and 5+ save. So they have mesh armor, shuriken catapult, and plasma grenades. In this edition, they changed it from the previous edition. It's more like 4th edition, where you can buy a warlock for them. Now, the warlock leader is 35 points. He comes with runic armor, which is a 4+ invulnerable save, and a shuriken pistol and a witchblade. So he's got 2 close combat weapons. You can give him a singing spear for 5 points. Honestly, I mean, it depends on what you want to do with your Guardian Defenders. If you're moving them up, and you think you might get within 12-inch range to use the guns, then you probably want to give him a spear just to have something to chuck at him. Although you could just use a pistol too. Nothing wrong with either. If you're mainly going to be sitting back and using the long-range weapon that you can upgrade them to give them a heavy weapon platform, then you probably don't want to spend the points on it. Every 10 Guardians you can get one heavy weapon. You can add additional 10 Guardians, so you can have a squad of 20. So you can have 2 heavy weapon platforms. It's 15 points for Shuriken Cannon and Scatter Laser, 20 points for Bright Lance and Star Cannon, and 30 points for an Eldar Missile Launcher. Now, remember we talked about the formations in the first video. One of them, if you take the Guardian Defenders, you need to have 3 squads of them, you get to have free heavy weapons platform, one of them, for the first one, so you don't have to pay the points for them. You can take a Wave Serpent as a designated transport. Even if you have a squad of 20, you could have a Wave Serpent and not use them. You can't put them in it, but you can still have it. Since Wave Serpents aren't quite as good as they were, I don't know if you want to do that. Depends on what you're going for. The Warlock is a level 1, and he gets Demonology Sanctic powers and Runes of Battle discipline, which probably you're going to go with Runes of Battle, because your Primaris is going to be Conceal, which will help your Guardians stay alive, that you probably want. Not much has changed with this squad. It's got a good long-range weapon. It depends, honestly. I think the Aspect Warriors got better, and so honestly, I think you might be seeing less Guardian Defenders if you're taking the detachment and you want to, take the, sorry, I apologize. I can't remember the name of it. The Guardian Battle Host, which is 3 Guardian Defenders, a Farseer, a Viper Squadron, unit of Warwalkers, Val's Wrath Support Battery, and 0 to 1 Warlock Conclave. So if you wanted to take that, yes, although I think most people are going to go with the Jet Bike one because it's the easier one to fill. The next troop choice is Storm Guardians. Now this one is, it used to be you had to have a squad of 10 in the last edition. Now it's a squad of 8 and it's 72 points. They're 9 points a model, just like the Guardian Defenders. Storm Guardians have the same stats, but they come with mesh armor, shuriken pistol, and close combat weapon and plasma grenade. So they're going to have 2 attacks because they have 2 close combat weapons. Now, up to 2 Guardians may exchange their close combat weapons for one, and a shuriken pistol for one of the following: either a flamer for 5 points or a fusion gun for 10 points. Now, they've got good ballistic skills, so it may be worth the fusion. Although I think you're probably going to go with Fire Dragons if you really want to take a fusion gun. If you're taking the Guardian Storm Host formation, you can get these special weapons for free, which then, of course, you probably want to get the fusion guns. Although it is one of the few places where Eldar can actually get flame weapons. They don't have a lot of them offered to them. Another one is the Wraith Lords, which they still didn't really quite make good enough to really be seen, I don't think. Once again, you can add a Warlock for 35 points and 5 points for the Singing Spear. These guys are going to be getting up close and personal, so you might want to give them a Singing Spear to give them something to throw at them or chuck at them. He's Mastery Level 1. He can have Sanctic, Demonology Power, Runes of Battle. I used to run these guys a decent amount back with the 4th edition Codex, because I'd take them and I'd take 2 flame weapons, 2 flamers, and I'd take the Warlock and give him the power that had the flame power. So I'd essentially have 3 flamers in a unit, and I'd run up a Wave Serpent, and then on the next turn, like, open it up, get them out, and just flame a unit, especially Imperial Guard that were out, or Orcs or something that was easy to chew on with flamers. Since you can't pick the powers anymore, you don't really know. You know, you can't really rely on that anymore, because you're not necessarily going to get Destructor. It's a roll of 1, and I seem to have I've seen you roll a lot of 1s for saves, but it seems like for psychic powers I don't roll 1s a lot. So I don't get that one very often. But Guardians, Storm Guardians, once again, I don't think you're going to see them as much. You can take a Wave Serpent, but I think you're going to see some of the other troops choices more often. The next one is the Wind Riders. They're the jet bikes. They're 51 points, the same as before. 17 points a Wind Rider. They come with a 3-man squad. The new bike kits are really cool. I have one. I haven't put them together yet. I have so many of the old ones, and I just haven't had time to put the new ones together. But they look really nice. I think they're really nice looking. Now the new, and I talked about this when I did the White Dwarf review, but the new thing with them is that it's not every 3 now, but every 1 can get upgrade their weapons, not just to a Shuriken Cannon for 10 points, but a Scatter Laser for 10 points, which is pretty big. Scatter Laser is 4 shots versus 3 for the Shuriken Cannon. Shuriken Cannon has a chance to kind of rend or blade storm, but the good thing with the Scatter Laser is it's a 36-inch range, so you can just kind of stay away from people if you want to. So I think the Scatter Laser is going to be taken more often, plus it's an extra shot. It's only AP 6, so it's not, you know, it's not going to go through. It's just more for DACA. You can take a Warlock for 50 points. That includes the bike. And you can buy a Singing Spear for 5 points. I think there's still some debate, because it says any Wind Rider may exchange Eldar Jet Bike's Twin Link Shuriken Catapult for one of the following. I still think you could take the Warlock and upgrade his bike to a Scatter Laser or Shuriken Cannon, because it just says any Wind Rider. It doesn't say, I don't know, maybe it's just the Wind Rider and not the Wind Rider Warlock, but I think they need to fact it, because I think someone could read into that you could. To me, it looks like you still could. You can take up to 7 additional Wind Riders, so you could have a squad of 10, potentially 11 with Warlock, and he's level 1, and he gets Runes of Battle and Sanctic Demonology Power. He's potentially worth taking now if you want to try to keep them alive more, because you're going to help your save, your cover save, which may be worth it. And in my opinion, it might be worth the 50 points. So whereas before, I don't think it was, because mainly in the last incarnation of this codex, you were using jet bikes, and I was usually using 3 naked, and just using to grab objectives or maelstrom points when I needed to, and they weren't really, their job wasn't really to go out and shoot. It was really more to secure objectives or get line breaker or something like that, because they were just so wicked fast and they could move even at the end of the game. Now they're going to serve multiple purposes. I used to just try to keep them off the board until I had to get them on to take things at the end of the game if that was the type of mission. But now they're actually going to serve a purpose the whole game. So, but they're also going to be bigger targets, and people hate them more. I think GW did the upgrading for each weapon to sell more models, obviously. I think in the kits they only come with 1 of the heavy weapons, so people are going to have to kind of kit bash or buy multiple kits, which I don't think that people are going to do. But I think you are going to see a lot of squads with Scatter Lasers and Shuriken Cannons because they're so good. But the next troop choice is the Rangers, and they have mesh armor and long range Ranger long rifle, which is a sniper rifle, and they have Shuriken pistol. And They have Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Fleet, Infiltrate, Move Through Cover, and Shrouded. So they did change this edition because last edition, if you had Rangers, they only had Stealth, and then if you upgraded them to Pathfinders with the Illic Night Spear, then you could take Pathfinders in your army, which was quite a point upgrade, and then you got Shrouded, like in the old editions. This time they just give them the Shrouded right away, so that's a change from last edition, and they're still 12 points a model, so they're the same points, but they actually got better to Shrouded. So I think you may see them more now, and you know, they have Move Through Cover too, which is nice. They don't have grenades, so although I don't think you want to charge them, so I don't think that really matters that much. But and you can have up to 5 more, so a squad of 10, 12 points per model. So, but 60 points gives you a 1 squad of them. The next one are troops are Dire Avengers, and they're an aspect warrior host, but they have always been troops throughout all the codices that I know of. Yeah, I can't think of an incarnation. Even when they actually got their first White Dwarf kind of codex where it was 2 issues, they like to do that. They still kind of do that. Well, when they do, they haven't introduced codices for a while that way, but when they did it, they've always been troops choice. Anyway, Dire Avengers are 65 points. They're 13 points a model. They have Aspect Armor, which is a 4-up save. Weapon skill 4, Strength and Toughness 3, Wounds 1, Initiative 5, and Attacks 1, Leadership 9, and 4+ save. They have Plasma Grenades, Avenger Shuriken Catapult, which is an 18-inch range, Aspect Armor, and then they have Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, and Fleet. Now they have Defense Tactics. Now this changed from last edition. They used to just kind of have counterattack, which was really nice. Now this time it's changed. It's not quite as good as it used to be. So when chosen as a target of a charge, a unit that consists entirely of models with a special rule can either choose to fire Overwatch at Ballistic Skill 2, so they're hitting on 5s and 6s, or gain counterattack and stubborn special rules until the end of the phase, in which case it cannot fire Overwatch. So basically, if you want stubborn and counterattack, you don't get to fire Overwatch at all. You just give that up. I don't know why they took that away. I would have rather just kept it the same and fired normal ballistics, Overwatch, and gotten counterattack. Stubborn's okay. I guess it makes it more resilient in close combat. I just think it kind of sucks that you're like have to give up your Overwatch, which these guys are efficient at. So I don't know. Maybe it's worth just using the Overwatch and not getting counterattack. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed. I don't quite like the change, in my opinion. Now, they come with 5, and you can get additional ones for 13 points apiece. The Dire Avenger Exarch is 10-point upgrade. Now he can replace his catapult with one of the following. He can have a twin-linked Avenger Shuriken Catapult for 5 points. So basically, instead of 2 of them now, he's just got a twin-linked one, which is kind of meh, because he's already weapon skill 5 or ballistic skill 5. And depending on if you take them in one of the formation, which you're probably going to, he's going to be ballistical 6. So he's basically hitting on anything but 1s, and he gets to reroll to a 6 hit. So I don't know if a twin link one's really worth it. He can take a power weapon and a shuriken pistol, or he can take a dire sword and a shuriken pistol, which is 20 points, or a power weapon and a shimmer shield for 20 points. They can take a wave serpent as a designated transport. Now, I'm going to check the shimmer shield and see if it changed this edition. Let's see. Bear in his unit as a 5+ invulnerable save. So no, he still gave his unit as a 5+ invulnerable save, which is nice. I like that option, the power weapon and shimmer shield. I like that one a lot. I hardly ever use the dire sword. It's not that it's bad, just that they have to take a leadership test. And most of the time they only have 1 woman anyway, unless it's a knob. so potentially you're killing a knob. But I usually am not going to use Dire Avengers to charge knobs. To be honest with you, they're okay at close combat, but now with this defense tactics, they're less good at close combat. The Exarch in this edition, there's two huge changes with Exarchs in the Eldar Codex. And I think nobody's mentioned this yet, and I don't think a lot of people notice. But all the Exarchs now have 2 wounds, so they're like a knob. They have 2 wounds, not just 1, and it's the same point. So they got a little better, and they got 2 wounds. That's a good deal. Their initiative 6, weapon skill, blitz skill 5. And 2 wounds. But anything tough, the strength 6 or more is going to double them out. But still, an extra wound, I'll take it. He comes with Battle Fortune automatically, so you don't have to buy the Exarch powers. He automatically comes with 4+ invulnerable save. So that's nice. But the sucky thing is you can't buy some of the upgrades that you might have liked to have gotten for him before. But you automatically get this included. So it's kind of a buff, and he's got the extra wound. So all of the Exarchs, for all of the other aspects, have 2 wounds now, which is kind of neat, and I don't think a lot of people notice it. My first read-through, I actually didn't notice it, and I was looking back through it again. I'm like, wait a second, does that say 2 wounds? I'm like, oh my god, they have 2 wounds now. So Warlocks don't. So the Warlock upgrades for Guardians and Guardian jet bikes or Wind Rider jet bikes or Storm Guardians do not have 2 wounds, but all the Exarchs have 2 wounds. I think that's kind of cool. So that is the Dire Avengers. So that are the troops. Those are the troops for the Eldar in this edition. Now, there's no way to upgrade your Wraith to become troops anymore, like in the last edition. And ever since 6th edition, going to 7th edition, I've noticed that they've kind of, even later 6th edition, they kind of started getting rid of making things upgraded to troops. My guess is in the next edition is that with the Space Marine Codex is that the bikes won't be able to be upgraded to troops. I'm guessing with Tau that suits won't be troops, but they'll have a formation, like a Farsight formation, where you can just take suits. The downside to those formations, and even the Eldar formations, is that you lose OBSEC, or Objective Secured. Some people argue it's not important. I still think it is, because I have had times where it does come into play. So if I can fit things in, oftentimes we'll use a CAD for Objective Secured. Now, for Necrons with the Dicurian detachment, I think it's better off that you don't have the Objective Secured, because that +1 to the feel no pain across the board, reanimation protocol is just so great and so worth it. So that case, I think it is worth it. With this one, I think some of the taxes and stuff that you have to pay to have the special formation and the bonuses that you get isn't always that great. And some of the formations, if you can add them onto your CAD, like the Aspect Warrior formation, or the Crimson Hunter formation, or the Dire Avenger Aspect one, you can still get the benefits from that and still run a CAD too, and attack. So now, yes, the Dire Avengers from that formation are not going to be Objective Secured, but so what? Or the aspects aren't going to be, but most of the time you're going to be running aspects that aren't necessarily troops anyway. Because really, honestly, if you're going to take Dire Avengers, you're probably going to do the Dire Avenger formation anyway. So, anyway, that's the end of the troop section. I'm going to do the elite section next, which is a little bigger. And then we'll move on to Fast Attack, and then Heavy, and then Lords of War, and wrap it up. So tune into the next episode. Hopefully you're enjoying the Eldar reviews. I'm very excited about the Codex, and I'm not down on it like others are. I do think, yes, it's going to have effects on the meta, but I don't think it's as bad as people think. Until next time, this is Wargamer Sean, and keep on wargaming.
Goodbye. 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 Bye-bye. Goodbye. See ya. Bye for now. Bye for now. Goodbye. I like bottoms.